This is really a risky thing I've wanted to do all my life, and I finally did it.
What?
So, as you mentioned, I just released my 65th album.
Yeah, congratulations. That's so cool.
It's so...
Donny Osmond wrote a terrible letter from Sweden when he was 8 years old. His father's harsh reaction, rather than one of consolation, laid the stage for decades of unseen suffering. Donny's career almost ended due to his chronic anxiousness by his 30s. "I hated being me," he even acknowledged. But when he finally admitted what actually transpired during those formative years that influenced his entire life in a 2025 interview, it was the most startling discovery. Television had never seen anything like Fred Silverman's choice to offer. Donny and Marie Osmond, their own primetime variety show. Marie was only 16 at the time, and Donny was 18. Both were still teenagers. Their record of being the youngest performers to host a variety program in history has never been surpassed. Their program, which debuted in January 1976 and ran for 78 episodes until 1979, was on par with some of the most popular variety shows of that decade. The fact that famous comedians or seasoned celebrities like Carol Burnett or Sonny and Cher had traditionally hosted primetime variety shows was what made this so unique. Even though they were given complete creative freedom over a primetime spot, ABC was still prepared to risk millions of dollars on two Utah adolescents. For decades to come, networks' perceptions of youthful talent and television viewers were altered by this audacious investment. As unexpected as the choice to employ the Osmonds in the first place was the involvement of Sid and Marty Krofft, who were called in to help shape the program. The Kroffts gained notoriety for developing HRA trippy children's show called Puffin's. Has bizarre characters like a talking flute, a witch, a shipwrecked youngster, and a red-headed dragon wearing cowboy boots. They brought that same hallucinogenic imagination into prime time, creating a variety presentation that resembled a vibrant doctor rather than a conventional television show. Donny wore powder blue tuxedo jumpsuits, embellished with peacock feathers, and the set featured an ice rink stage. The screen was filled with life-size puppets, enormous costumes, and vivid, exaggerated patterns, making for an odd and memorable sight. The neat-cut Mormon siblings became the heroes of a primetime fantasy world thanks to their unique vision, and viewers tuned in each week to see them. The weight of Marie's role in the concert was particularly historic. For almost 50 years, she has maintained the record of being the youngest woman to host a national television variety show. She was given an enormous amount of responsibility. She was technically still a high school student when the show started in January 1976, but she was sharing the stage with well-known performers. She assisted in bearing the burden of ratings, comedic skits, musical numbers, and celebrity interviews throughout 78 episodes, which could make or break the careers of hundreds of people working behind the scenes. Later, Marie acknowledged that the pressure was harsh, citing instances in which bosses made fun of her appearance and even threatened to fire 250 employees for her performance. Notwithstanding this treatment, she and Donny produced a show that endured so well that it was eventually brought back to life as a discussion show during the day in the 1990s and even made a comeback as a Broadway Christmas version in 2010. There was more to ABC's decision to air Donny and Marie in primetime than just programming. In the middle of the 1970s, it was a well-thought-out attempt to get into the youth market. Advertisers at the time mostly sought to connect with audiences in the 18 to 49 age range, and ABC understood that they would be able to control that audience with the help of younger faces. Their approach worked so well that by 1997, the network was publicly investing over $12 million in youth-oriented advertising, a move that was based on a formula they had successfully tried with the Osmonds decades before. ABC's youth-focused approach started to pay off, forcing other networks to reconsider their own programming and demonstrating that the hazardous choice to rely on two Mormon adolescents had transformed television. The Kroffts continued to push the limits of what a variety show might be as the show went on: puppets, ice dancers, and ornate costumes. Their unique visual effects and lighthearted skits combined aspects of primetime entertainment with Saturday morning children's programming to produce a style that was more akin to a live-action cartoon than a conventional variety show. They forced Marie into a new job with renowned designer Bob Mackie in the second season, turning her from a charming inventor into a glitzy adult entertainer. Donny, however, kept on sporting his trademark peacock-embroidered powder blue tuxedos. Viewers were unable to take their eyes off the show because of the striking visual changes that gave it a unique personality. Donny and Marie's co-hosting partnership developed from their 1974 appearance on The Mike Douglas Show. Executives were immediately captivated by the two's innate chemistry when they were hired as guest hosts for a week. Given that it had permitted John Lennon and Yoko Ono to co-host, the show's bold moves were not out of the ordinary. 1972, when the Osmond siblings took turns. Their combination of Marie's growing popularity in country music and Donny's appeal as a teenage idol proved to be captivating. With a brother-sister collaboration, Fred Silverman recognized the potential right away and offered them their own series. Expanding on the already successful Osmond brand while providing viewers with something new, Marie's success with the song Paper Roses helped secure her spot on the show. It was recorded when she was just 13 years old and less than a month after turning 14. It peaked at #1 on the Billboard Hot Country Songs chart. This gave the Osmond family the ideal counterpoint to Donny's pop prominence and made her the youngest solo artist to reach the top of that chart. The song, which was first a smash for Anita Bryant in 1960, rose to #2 in the UK and #5 on the Billboard Hot 100, demonstrating Marie's global appeal. She was the ideal counterpoint to Donny's image because of her ability to transition between pop and country music, which allowed the show to draw both adolescent fans and older listeners. Long before the variety show started, Donny was already a household name. He had 12 top 40 songs between 1971 and 1976, 5 of which made it to the top 10. Go Away Little Girl, which reached #1, Puppy Love, which reached #3, and the 12th were among his best-selling songs. Of Never, which peaked at the 8th position, giving well-known pop songs a new sound for a younger audience, was a major factor in his success. His image as a teenage idol was largely shaped by editor Ann Moses of magazines like Tiger Beat, which contributed to his rise to fame. Donny and Marie Osmond created television history on January 23, 1976, when their own program debuted. Marie was only 16, and Donny was just 18. Nevertheless, they were the youngest performers to ever host a variety show. After seeing them as a guest host on The Mike Douglas Show, ABC President Fred Silverman made the proposition. The network was persuaded to take a big risk on two teens because of how naturally they clicked. They were assigned to the Friday night time slot, which most producers thought was where shows went to die. However, Donny and Marie made it a must-see occasion. Ice skating, a spectacular and well-executed choice that no other variety program, tried every week, kicked off the launch. The degree of power they have was what made it even more peculiar. Their parents occasionally made appearances on television. Their elder brothers performed musical pieces, and the entire show turned into a true family production that defied Hollywood convention. The show generated 78 episodes over 3 seasons and became a phenomenon that few could have foreseen. In 1977, Mattel launched Donny and Marie dolls after swiftly acquiring the commercial rights. The dolls wore vibrant jumpsuits that became a Hallmark style, and they were made to hold microphones in their hands. Their brother Jimmy was even included in the toy line by 1978. The show's audience extended much beyond the U.S. It was shown on Sunday afternoons by the BBC in the UK under the title The Osmonds, which obscured Marie's identity from British viewers. The siblings had significant personal challenges hidden behind their happy numbers and bright smiles. In order to keep up with the glitzy celebrities that showed up as guests, Marie was quietly starving herself. It was about this period that Donny had his first panic attacks. For decades, they concealed these problems, maintaining a flawless public persona while discreetly battling discomfort off stage. The production was a collaboration between Sid and Marty Krofft and Osmond Productions. Shows like HR made the Krofft brothers famous. Land of the Lost and Puffin' Stuff are renowned for their fantastical aesthetic. Although it seemed like an odd combination, Donny and Marie's employment with the wholesome Osmonds afforded them a creative outlet that most youngsters could only dream about. In 1977, they relocated the entire production from Los Angeles to Orem, Utah, where they served as executive producers for a major network program. The program was moved to the brand new 104,000 square foot George Wyeth Osmond Studios. Although leaving Hollywood was unprecedented for a major network program, the move allowed the family to maintain control while creating a new production style that emphasized independence and family values. The basis for their subsequent success in Las Vegas was also established by the variety of performance. The show's blend of comedy, music, and spectacle was ideal for the Vegas stage, even though it was first filmed at KTLA in Los Angeles before traveling to Utah in 2008. After several decades, this format made a comeback with a residency at the MGM Grand's Hollywood Theater. At the Flamingo Las Vegas, what started out as just 8 shows turned into an 11-year run. They put on 1,330 gigs from 2008 till November 9, 2019. To honor them, the Flamingo even changed the name of its showroom to the Donny and Marie Showroom in 2014 by extending his solo residency at Harrah's, Las Vegas through November 2025. Donny has carried on the tradition. When Donny and Marie won the Pop Culture Award at the 2015 TV Land Awards, their impact was formally acknowledged. It demonstrated the lasting impact of their work on audiences and came 36 years after the conclusion of their play. They were nominated in 2005 and had already won the TV Land Award for Favorite Singing Siblings in 2006. In addition to winning 3 Las Vegas Review-Journal Best of Las Vegas honors in 2012 for Best Show, Best All-Around Performer, and Best Singer, the Pop Culture Award came at the height of their Las Vegas residency. Has frequently expressed his grief at the conclusion of the Donny and Marie program. With his sister Marie, the ABC variety show, which aired from 1976 to 1979, was one of the pivotal events in his career. However, it left him feeling more frustrated than satisfied. Later, Donny acknowledged that he and Marie were never given the opportunity to choose the show's finale. The two were left as spectators in their own careers because that decision was made for them. When he realized they had relinquished creative authority over their fate, he characterized it as a turning point. He described the cancellation in 1979 as the beginning of a huge struggle with my public image, which would follow him for years. The fact that the concert ended without their permission was much more regrettable than the fact that it was over. Demonstrating the limited influence even well-known performers might have in the business, the following years were challenging. Reviews pointed out that Donny's creative blunders in the late 1970s nearly drove him out of the public eye for the majority of the 1980s. Despite the fact that he was still a gifted vocalist, he acknowledged that he was branded as unhip and that his appearance had become humiliating. A publicist once advised that he purposefully get arrested for drug possession in order to shed his clean image because things had gotten so bad. According to Donny, he even employed the publicist who came up with the concept, who devised a comprehensive plan to expose him. The idea alone demonstrated how disconnected he had gotten from the expectations of the entertainment industry for someone who grew up in a family-friendly spotlight. It also demonstrated the icy cynicism of a field where drug arrests were accepted as a valid tactic to further one's career. These obligations often clashed with Donny's personal convictions. As a devoted member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, he constantly found himself trying to balance his religious values with the pressures of the entertainment industry. In March 2010, years later, he openly criticized artists like Beyoncé and Lady Gaga for their reliance on sexual themes and vulgarity in their music videos. His stance on same-sex marriage during California's 2008 Proposition 8 further highlighted the tension he experienced in maintaining an image of inclusivity while expressing disapproval. Donny once remarked that if he sang a Prince song, audiences would assume it was wholesome simply because it was him, whereas if Prince himself performed it, people would label it indecent. That wasn't fair, he complained. This reflected the creative limitations imposed by his squeaky clean image, as well as his frustration at being pigeonholed. Then, in 2010, a legal conflict surfaced that threatened to shatter the reputation he had spent decades building. That October, Chip Lightman, his former entertainment manager, filed a lawsuit in Clark County District Court accusing Donny of deceit, manipulation, greed, and dishonesty. Lightman, who had worked with Donny following his management of Danny, Gans painted a picture of a man willing to lie and exploit others for financial gain. The lawsuit alleged that Donny spread damaging rumors about Lightman within the industry, misled Flamingo Hotel representatives, and even refused to go on stage until his conditions were met. The timing was disastrous. These allegations stood in stark contrast to the polished persona Donny had carefully cultivated over 6 decades, especially since he and Marie were enjoying renewed success in Las Vegas at the time. The complaint also portrayed him as living extravagantly, spending on private jets, lavish hotel suites, and luxury cars supposedly funded by those working behind the scenes. Court records revealed that Donny and Marie each earned a base salary of $1.6 million, in addition to 40% of box office receipts exceeding $250,000. Marie also received a $10,000 monthly housing stipend, while Donny was provided a 2-room hotel suite and chauffeur service. When asked about these claims, Donny laughed uncomfortably, insisting he only drove a smart car, which was hardly exotic. Still, the accusations painted an entirely different portrait of someone pursuing a lifestyle that contrasted sharply with his family-friendly image. Lightman maintained that it wasn't about the money, but about betrayal. He claimed that when he reunited Donny and Marie at the Flamingo Hotel in April 2008 for their first joint show on the Strip in 3 decades, he had revived their careers. The production quickly became a financial success, earning millions and restoring their place in the entertainment world. However, according to the lawsuit, once the show became profitable and secured an extension through October 2012, Donny allegedly schemed to discredit Lightman and undermine the William Morris Agency. The filings stated that Donny waited until the show's success was guaranteed before sidelining those who had contributed to it. Lightman expressed his dismay, saying he never wished to be in such a situation, describing it as deeply unfortunate. The court documents also accused Donny of plotting to slash Lightman's earnings while increasing his own during contract renegotiations. One of the most serious allegations was that Donny attempted to cheat the William Morris Agency out of commissions owed from the extended contract. Furthermore, when Lightman refused to comply, Donny reportedly turned against him, at one point allegedly refusing to perform until Lightman signed away his rights to a company called Aldani and agreed to a 50% pay cut. While Donny negotiated backstage, the audience was left waiting for over 30 minutes. The filings further claimed that Donny denied ever approving the renewal of Lightman's producer contracts and spread rumors that Lightman had been falsifying financial records. Years later, Donny addressed his life and legacy during a 2025 appearance on Good Morning Britain. At age 67, he corrected misconceptions about his early fame, telling the host that one of his biggest struggles had been transitioning from teen idol to adult performer. He explained that people only began to take him seriously once he reached certain milestones. He credited his victory on Dancing with the Stars, his lead role in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, and the release of Soldier of Love as the turning points that proved he had matured as an artist. Only then, he admitted, could he look back on his teen idol years without feeling constrained by them. His honesty revealed the lasting effects of being locked into a youthful persona well into adulthood. By 1982, when Donny was only 25, the public had already dismissed him as washed up, a shocking downfall for someone who once topped charts with hits like Puppy Love No. 3 and Go Away Little Girl No. 1. Donny later admitted he felt compelled to reinvent himself as the music industry evolved. He said that both record labels and fans tried to keep him boxed in, comparing his struggle to Justin Bieber's later challenges with escaping the teen Adele image. The transition proved draining both emotionally and financially, as record companies hesitated to sign an artist so closely tied to bubblegum pop. Behind the cheerful TV persona and musical success, Donny's childhood had been far from simple. His father, George Osmond, instilled military-style discipline in managing the family, a harsh approach rooted in his own abusive upbringing. Rather than calling his 9 children by name, George assigned them numbers. At just 8 years old, while visiting Sweden, Donny wrote home begging to return because of his loneliness. Instead of comforting him, his father scolded him and told him to be grateful. Although Donny acknowledged that he raised his own children very differently, he subsequently claimed to have realized that his father wasn't perfect, but was doing his hardest. He also had to deal with the conflicting emotions of being the breakout star among 7 brothers, who were all vying for attention. Marie Osmond later acknowledged that the family had its share of difficulties, claiming that they experienced highs and lows like everyone else. But in reality, everything was made far more difficult by celebrity and commerce. In 1963, at the age of 5, Donny made his television debut on The Andy Williams Show. He acknowledged that his life never felt normal after going from an innocent child to a national television star. He later disclosed that his crippling anxiety had actually begun when he was 11 years old, but the price of fame only became apparent in his 30s. During his run in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, his nervousness was so bad that he almost couldn't perform. Later on, he said that he lacked the patience to recognize that Donny was only human. "Mistakes will be made by you. It's all right. I despised being me," he admitted at the height of his stardom. Even decades later, he talked about the bizarre experience of performing with his 14-year-old self in his Las Vegas performance using AI technology, stating that it was odd to sing with a 53-year-old version of himself. Despite earning millions in the 1970s, the Osmonds were always under strain due to their financial situation. Donny disclosed that after losing practically everything in the 1980s, he almost had to file for bankruptcy. The siblings had little financial stability because a large portion of their earnings went to supporting their parents, managers, extended family, and a large commercial operation. Donny acknowledged that it occasionally made his life even more difficult. Donny and Marie made a major comeback attempt in 1998 with a syndicated talk show that Dick Clark produced. The program, which was aired nationwide every morning, had a live house band. Ratings were poor right from the start, despite extremely high expectations. After only 2 seasons, Columbia TriStar terminated it in 2000. Given that the show was still getting industry accolades at the time, some people found the failure to be perplexing. In fact, it received 12 nominations for the Daytime Emmy for directing, makeup, hairstyling, and other categories, including 2 consecutive nods for Outstanding Talk Show. Host in 2000 and 2001, however, the paucity of viewers was not mitigated by critical acclaim, and the show's demise served as a sobering reminder that skill alone is not enough for television success. Donny and Marie's 11-year stay at the Flamingo Hotel in Las Vegas, beginning in 2008, was the true turning point. It initially appeared to be the pinnacle of their professional lives. According to reports, they each received a base payment of $1.6 million, in addition to 40% of box office receipts, over $250,000. Marie was given a housing allowance of $10,000 per month, and Donny lived in an opulent suite with limousine service. However, issues started to accumulate behind the glitz. Schedule difficulties caused tension with producers when Donny participated in and won the Dancing with the Stars competition. By 2010, he was being sued for defamation, fraud, and breach of contract. According to court documents, he was living paycheck to paycheck despite earning millions of dollars, battling with bad investments, the economic downturn, and the expenses of an ostentatious lifestyle. The most heated event occurred in 2010, when Donny was sued by entertainment producer Chip Lightman, who had assisted in bringing the Osmonds to Las Vegas. Lightman said that in order to keep more money for himself, Donny terminated a contract extension with him. According to the lawsuit, Donny was dishonest, cunning, and deceptive. He even allegedly once delayed a performance by almost 30 minutes by refusing to take the stage until Lightman agreed to a 50% pay cut. Lightman also charged him with circulating untrue stories, lying to the Flamingo, and denying agreements. In stark contrast to Donny's innocent public persona, the case presented a picture. The lawsuit even mentioned Marie, claiming that she knew about Donny's behavior but chose to remain silent. Donny and Marie's relationship was extremely strained by the time they left Vegas in 2019. The strain of their family's lengthy history, decades of financial hardships, and creative disputes had taken their toll. According to insiders, the twins were barely keeping their composure off stage. And Marie acknowledged that she frequently felt like the underdog in comparison to the glitzy guest stars. Due to bad financial choices and poor management, their family had already lost an estimated $80 to $100 million over the years. The Fishers were there, even in the radiance of their Vegas victory.